A relatively new, fresh off the boat brand like Infinix might not inspire confidence in a lot of potential buyers, especially when Infinix's latest smartphone, the HOT S3, is trying to compete in the Rs 10,000 price category, which is already filled with some really great options. But I have to say this, Infinix's parent company Transsion Holdings is actually the largest seller of smartphones in Africa, which means that Transsion Holdings definitely knows a thing or two about making good smartphones. And after using the Infinix HOT S3, I'm fairly convinced that that fact is true. Are you intrigued? Well, I am Ershad, and this is my review of the Infinix HOT S3. Before we jump into my review of the Infinix HOT S3, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified about more such awesome tech videos. The Infinix HOT S3, like most new smartphones, embraces the 18:9 display trend. The truncated bezels make it easy to operate with one hand. What I like about the HOT S3 is actually its very understated yet classy design. My black review unit, made entirely of plastic, cuts a handsome figure next to any other expensive phone. It embraces plastic for the material it is, instead of forcing a faux metallic finish. However, I did face a peculiar problem where the phone kept slipping from my hand very easily. This is unlike phones with plastic bodies actually. Thankfully, Infinix provides a Tpu case in the box. Talking about the bundle, you also get a neat flat micro USB cable, which is a neat touch. The front has a 2.5D curved glass with a layer of NEG glass scratch resistance, which in my experience does its job well. The camera module on the rear is slightly raised and placed inside an enclosure with ridges. It looks good in my opinion. There are ridges on the power button as well, making it easy to distinguish from the volume rocker. Moving on to the display, the 5.65-inch FHD Plus IPS LCD panel is actually impressive. While the color accuracy could have been a tad better, you will find the display very crisp and detailed. The software's auto brightness feature works well in tandem with the ambient light sensor. It calibrates the screen's brightness accurately according to the surrounding light. Also, the viewing angles and the sunlight legibility are pretty good too. The Infinix HOT S3 software is the masterstroke as far as I am concerned. It is what makes the phone a compelling option for prospective buyers. The HOT S3 runs Android Oreo 8.0 with Infinix's very own Hummingbird XOS 3.0 layer on top of it. Apart from the obvious benefits of Oreo, Infinix's OS adds a ton of really cool features on top of it. XOS 3.0 offers so much control that if you're a fan of a launcher like Nova, you won't miss it here. You can pick the icon size, change the desktop grid, pin icons to the screen, change the direction of scrolling, alter the text color, and much more. It is rather refreshing to see such deep controls. Simple things like the tiny camera animation when you switch between home screens and the icon animation when the brightness is increased or reduced from the notification panel only add to the usage experience. You can also long press the power button and the volume up command to trigger a screen recording, which I found to be very cool. Why didn't anyone think of it before? There is also an easy to use one-hand mode in case you want to stretch to reach the top of the panel. Gestures like double tapping to wake the display or swiping down with 3 fingers to capture a screenshot are neat additions too. Obviously, it's not like everything is peachy. There are certain things about the XOS 3.0 Android skin that I didn't find particularly appealing. I'm not a fan of cutesy rounded icons. Considering the software offers so much control, the engineers at Infinix could have probably given us the flexibility to change the icon style too. Also, I really think brands should double check for duplication of apps. I mean, there is really no need for 2 gallery apps or music apps. The HOT S3 has 2 cameras, a 13 megapixel sensor with an f/2.0 aperture lens on the rear and a 20 megapixel front camera with an f/2.0 aperture. The 20MP camera captures decent looking shots that can be instantly shared on your Facebook or Instagram profiles. On closer inspection, however, you will notice Infinix's camera engineers love to over sharpen the images. It looks like someone used the sharpen preset in Photoshop and pushed the slider to the maximum. But I also know that most users won't care because selfies actually do look good on the phone. As a matter of fact, the camera software's edge detection algorithm in selfies is surprisingly good. However, interestingly, the camera doesn't show the depth mode as the default option and hides it in the beauty mode. The camera app also has a wide selfie mode that replicates the panorama mode, but it does a half-baked job. As for the HOT S3's 13 megapixel camera, you can make some good pictures, thanks for the most part to its near accurate color reproduction. But don't expect good details in the highlights and shadows. For example, in this image of the swing in my apartment complex, you will notice very soft details. Also, the camera's shot-to-shot time is very slow, which means you're going to lose focus and bound to get blurred shots often. The Hdr mode on the HOT S3 creates the most dramatic images I've seen from any Hdr mode on a phone till date. In fact, it literally eliminates shadows, blows up the highlights, and cranks up the sharpening. If you ever use Snapseed's drama filter, you will know what I'm talking about. In low light, the rear camera does a surprisingly good job for the price bracket it operates in. It captures a decent amount of light and details too. As far as the 1080p video recording goes, the less talked about it, the better. The HOT S3 has a Snapdragon 430 system on chip at its core. It is available in two variants, 3GB, 32GB and 4GB, 64GB. The tray for the SIM cards and the microSD card has slots for all three and is not a hybrid one. I know this is quite a big deal for many folks. Unlike what some people might think, the Snapdragon 430 is definitely not underpowered. Apart from the fact that I got an Antutu score of around 60,000, I didn't face a single performance hiccup in my time with the phone. Even Asphalt 8 ran smoothly. I don't know if it's the hardware-software optimization or Snapdragon's might, but the phone is no slouch. Twist in the story, my review unit was the one with 3GB of RAM. This means the HOT S3's variant with 4GB of RAM should perform even better. However, there were some shortcomings. For example, I think the single downward firing speaker could have been honestly better. It sounds shrill and muddy. Also, thanks to the small earpiece, the calls don't get too loud. Thankfully, audio performance using my reference One More triple driver was not too bad. As far as the 4000 mAh battery inside the phone is concerned, it will easily last you a day with at least 10% juice left. I constantly got a screen on time of 5 hours and thereabouts, which is pretty good. I'll be honest, when the Infinix HOT S3 came to me for review, I went in with very low expectations. But after having used the phone, I came back with a big wide grin on my face. If you're looking for a smartphone around Rs 10,000, the Infinix HOT S3 is actually a pretty good option, especially if you're a fan of selfies and if you want a really dependable software. Having said that, in this price category, there are so many good smartphones out there like the Redmi Note 5, the Moto G5, the Honor 9 Lite. The list is almost endless. In the end though, whichever smartphone you choose, you won't be disappointed. The competition is actually that close and that intense. I hope you liked my review of the Infinix HOT S3. Do let us know in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Ershad signing off. Tata.